What are the relationships between angles when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal? So we got a lot going on here. What exactly is a transversal? What are parallel lines? What are angles? And let's look at some of that. So we'll start with angles here. You have some basic type of angles. You have an acute angle that's less than 90 degrees. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90, but less than 180. And then the straight angle is when you get to 180 degrees. And those will be the four we'll focus on throughout this. Straight angle is basically a straight line. Might even argue that it's not an angle, but whatever. Okay, so angle pairs. So now we're getting into relationships between angles. You could have supplementary angles, and that's when you have angle A plus angle B equals 180 degrees. That's supplementary. I remember that because that's super big, right? That's the 180 versus complementary is angle A plus angle B equals 90 degrees. So if you add two angles together, they equal 90 degrees, you're complementary. If you equal 180 degrees, they are supplementary. And if two angles are the exact same measurement, they're called congruent. And there's a special equal symbol with a little squiggle over the top that means congruent. Angle A is congruent to angle B. Also, another angle relationship is vertical angles. In this case, when you have two intersecting lines, angles that are non-adjacent are equal. So like adjacent means next to each other. So like angle 1 and angle 4, those would actually be supplementary angles because they would equal 180 or a straight angle. 3 and 2 would be supplementary as well. But these non-adjacent ones like 3 and 4, those are vertical angles and they are congruent. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 and angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Anytime you have intersecting lines, you have two sets of vertical angles that are formed. All right, now using all of those relationships, we use that, specifically vertical angles, to come up with a lot of relationships when we have parallel lines and transversals. So parallel lines are two lines that have the exact same slope. They'll never intersect, never cross. They can usually be indicated by an extra little arrow on the line to indicate they are parallel. A transversal is this line that intersects two lines. So it doesn't always have, they don't always have to be parallel lines, but it just has to intersect two lines at two different points. And that's a transversal here. And that's what we have here, a transversal. So when we have the parallel lines intersected by a transversal, we have 5 relationships I'm going to talk about right now. And so here are those relationships. Let's get the blue marker here. Corresponding angles are congruent. So if you have corresponding angles, you are congruent. And what those are is those are angles like angle 1 and angle 5. They're kind of like above both of them are like above the one parallel line and on the same side. 2 and 6 are corresponding. 3 and 7 are corresponding. 4 and 8 are corresponding. 1 and 5. I think that's it. So those are our sets of corresponding angles within this. Now, and they're always congruent. Alternate interior and alternate exterior are also congruent. And these words in the actual names of the angles help to understand which two it's talking about. Alternate means you're on different sides of the transversal, and interior means you're inside the parallel lines. So 3 and 6 are alternate interior, and they are congruent. 4 and 5 are alternate interior, and they are congruent. Now, alternate exterior would be the other one. So you go outside the parallel lines, 1, 2, 7, and 8 are your exterior angles. Alternate means opposite sides of the transversal. So 1 and 8 are across the transversal and outside the parallel lines, so they are alternate exterior, and 1 and 8 are congruent. 7 and 2 are alternate exterior and are also congruent. Now there's ways to prove all of this. For example, if I have angle 2, angle 3 is a vertical angle, so they have the same measure, right? And then angle 3 and then 1 and 4 are vertical angles. So you can see this, and since this line is parallel to this line, it means that the same slope is and they're going to intersect at the same angle with the transversal, so therefore 1 and 5 have to be equal. Then you have equal vertical angles, and so That's kind of where you get all this from. Don't stress too much about the proofs, but worry more about just learning the rules of what's congruent. Now, same side interior and same side exterior, we are no longer talking about congruent angles. We are talking about supplementary angles now. Same side interior. So supplementary is when they add to 180. So again, you're looking at the same side of the transversal and inside. So 3 and 5, 6 and 4. Those are same side interior. And when you add these together, they would equal 180. So 6 plus 4 would equal 180 degrees. The measure of angle 6 and angle 4. And measure angle 3 and 5. And same thing with same side exterior. So then you're looking at 7 and 1. They would end up being a supplementary and equaling 180. And 8 and 2 would be supplementary and equal 180. Those are the five relationships we're going to start with. What are the relationships between angles when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal? We have corresponding that are congruent, alternate interior, alternate exterior. All three of these are congruent. Same side interior and same side exterior are supplementary.